And basically it made them think that the whole universe is contracting if you go back in time, and that all matter would eventually come together in a very small volume. Thinking about what would happen if all the matter in the universe were squeezed into a small space has led scientists to a theory that describes how the universe formed. This theory, known as the Big Bang Theory, is the standard model used to explain the expansion of the universe. I just want you to imagine yourself a 7th grader. Okay, seventh graders will watch, some show and see that they're wearing shoes and they have to go out and get these shoes, right? They're very influenced by what they see and what they're told. And they're sitting and they're listening to this. This theory, known as the Big Bang Theory, is the standard model used to explain the expansion of the universe. Even though it has theory at the end of it, what are they going to think when they hear it is the standard model used to explain the expansion of the universe? They're going to think, well, this is what everybody thinks. It's the standard, right? All the scientists out there are agreeing on this. There's nothing else, right? According to the Big Bang Theory, about 14 billion years ago, all the contents of the universe were compressed under tremendous pressure at high temperature and high density into an extremely small volume. Then, the universe rapidly expanded and cooled. And within the first 3 minutes of this Big Bang, the initial elements, the forces of nature, including gravity, and the seeds of the galaxy formation were determined. It doesn't say, we've duplicated this, and we know it to be true. It doesn't say, this is how we know it, we have a witness. But somehow they know that in 3 minutes, everything expanded, and all the gravity and everything this is a theory. But the way that it is explained, not only is it totally far-fetched, and it doesn't give anything to back up how they know this or why they know this, but it's the standard used to explain how the world began. It's the standard. You just believe it's a standard, right? There's no mention anywhere in this book of any other theory. None. Creation is not in the index. It's nowhere in there. God is nowhere in this book. How can you not have God when you're talking about the creation of the world? But it's nowhere. It is nowhere. So the entire school year, when they're learning about this, they are not going to learn anything about how God had a hand in creating our world. What is going to happen when we give them the Bible and we say, Genesis, this is how the world was known? No, it's not. It's not what I was taught. It's not the standard. If they can't believe Genesis, well then how can they believe the rest of the Bible? That's a real problem. Okay? Not to mention that, I don't know how much you guys are into this, but Answers in Genesis and all these other groups that have come out that are real scientists doing real science can show that there's more science now to back up that this doesn't make any sense at all. More and more scientists are coming over saying, you know what, I'm not even a Christian, but there's something wrong with this Big Bang Theory. Yet, this is what's being taught in the public school, and it's the standard. It's the standard, okay? I brought, for science, I did bring a Christian book to kind of show that they handle it a little bit different. A Christian science book, 7th grade, and this, let me see, I think this is Bob Jones. Okay, Bob Jones, fairly recognized, name in Christian education, actually talks about the Big Bang Theory. Actually, it does a whole page on the Big Bang Theory. They're not afraid to say, hey, there's other theories out here. Here's one. And they talk about it. They do talk about how it doesn't fit in with what God has said was done in the beginning of the world. But they're not afraid to mention it and to talk about it and to say this is, and they say that this is what happens, and on and on and on and on and on. Okay? It's, you know, we don't have to not expose them to these things. But you got to know what's true and what's not, right? And we've got to be able to teach our kids what's true and what's not. Because the amount of time they spend at school compared to the amount of time that we have them, it's not going to be enough to undo that. Okay? Go to the next one. Okay, so what? Well, let's just go back to George Washington. If they are learning these things about the beginning of our country and our founding fathers and our history, and I mean, it goes back to the Pilgrims. That was another thing that shocked me. I didn't know the Pilgrims were persecuted Christians. Are you kidding me? That was never told to me. Okay? And these kids are growing up now, and I was growing up this way too, to really believe that we were not a Christian nation. We are not a Christian nation. We never were a Christian nation. Okay? And it's so easy to believe. It really is when you're never taught the truth. Okay? And that's a really scary thought. You know, we're talking about how far our country is drifting. I wonder why. Try convincing a college-age student right now that we were a Christian nation. It's not. It's going to be a really hard battle. Okay? The Big Bang, again, you know, we're talking about the very foundation of what we believe. If they don't believe in the very beginnings of Genesis, how can they trust anything else that the Bible says? Really? You know, and again, I only picked like one example from, I could go and talk about all kinds of things, from science, especially science and history, okay, that is really messes with the minds of our children. Okay? And I know that you guys have probably heard this statistic, that 60 to 80% of our kids, Christian kids, that go to public school will leave their faith in the first year of college. Right? I mean, this is a statistic that's everywhere now. It's just scaring everybody, right? And really, I mean, is it surprising? Now that you think about it, and you think about what they're learning all day long, compared to what they get the little time at home. And you know what the number one reason is that they give for leaving? It's hypocrisy. I want you just to stop, because at first when I heard this, I was, I don't get it. We're one way on Sunday, and then we're another way the rest of the week. So if the kids are going to church on Sunday, and they're spending time at home with us, and we're doing Bible studies, and we're hanging out, and I mean, we're just really, we're doing good. And then we send them to public school, and all day they're learning. Genesis can't possibly be right. Our founding fathers were Christians. On and on every day, Monday through Friday. They feel like I was one way on Sunday, and now I'm another way the rest of the week. I'd rather just be real one way or the other. Well, what am I going to fall back on? The one I was more used to. Being a Christian is I'm not going to be a hypocrite, so I'm just not going to do it. 60 to 80% Christian kids that go to college their first year see it as a big hypocrisy, and they'll just walk away. And very few of them will come back. And now that I'm really learning the truth about our history and our science, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. Okay? It makes sense to me now. Okay, next one. Okay, so I like to close this. I always like to close these with Bible verses because, I mean, really this is the main reason that I'm doing this, is because I really feel like God has a hand in this homeschool movement that's happening. across the country. And that if we don't speak out in the truth, whether people are going to like to hear it or not, then we're just being part of the problem. Now, doesn't mean you have to go and pick it in front of the public schools, and you got friends that go to public school and tell me, but if they ask you, oh yeah, it's okay. Oh yes, it's great. You know why? And we have to be able to tell them why. Okay, because this is a big deal. It is. Okay? First verse. Train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not turn from it. Proverbs 22:6. Now, I want you to try to relate this to your children going to public school and being trained. Because really, when your kids go to public school, who's training them? No, not us, right? I mean, even if I grab my kids right when they walk through that door, they got homework, and then they want to talk to their friends, and then, you really don't have that much time with them. The training is going on in the public school system. And once they leave your home, that's what they're going to fall back on, is that training. Okay? Next one. Test me, O Lord, and try me. Examine my heart and my mind, for your love is ever before me, and I walk continually in your truth. I do not sit with deceitful men, nor do I consort with hypocrites. It really, to me, speaks to the environment the kids get used to being in. Okay? They're among people that don't have the same beliefs. They don't have the same values. Okay, I'm not saying all the kids who go to public school are bad. Okay, but again, you get blind leading the blind. You could even get good kids that get in there that just fall into bad situations because they don't have as much adult supervision as they should. They don't have as much leadership and people coming in and telling them this is not okay. They don't have that. So what happens? They start falling into bad habits, teaching it to their friends. Okay? I don't sit with deceitful men, nor do I consort with hypocrites. Next. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. Now, I tell my kids, if you are withholding information from me in order to be deceitful, you're lying to me. Does that make sense? If you're withholding, you know how your kids will only tell you part of the story because they're hoping they can still get away with it? What are they doing? They're lying. They're being deceitful. Okay, what happens in these books when they decide that they're not going to tell us George Washington was a God-fearing Christian man? They're lying. They're lying. I can't even imagine what George Washington would say right now if he knew that that's all that was being told about him and that he wasn't even being mentioned as being a Christian man after how he professed and everything through his whole life. Okay? It's lies. It's not okay. Okay. Oh, my kids and I went through the last 2 years. We were doing a couple C.S. Lewis stories. C.S. Lewis, the Narnia guy, right? I mean, it's all. If you ever seen those movies, the movies are awesome, right? I mean, he was just such an amazing author, and I didn't know this until I went online and looked up his stuff. He actually was a Christian author, like on a totally different level. He didn't just do fantasy things and kind of mix it in with a Christian, background in it. He did a book called Mere Christianity. He did another book called The Screwtape Letters. And this is an excerpt from the Screwtape Letters. And for those of you that don't know, the Screwtape Letters, if you're going to read the books, I would say do Mere Christianity first, because Screwtape Letters will just mess you up. It's basically, he's writing from the point of view of this, if you would say like a middle management demon. Okay, that's Screwtape. Screwtape is like one of the lead, kind of middle ground demons in hell. And he is writing to his junior officer, if you will, in the field, that's here, that's trying to lead people astray. Okay, and he's giving him advice. The guy's writing to him, but you only